Hey everyone, welcome to the Withering Effect episode 185, and today's date is February 11th, 2025, and I am Duds or Duds Versus, known to the rest of the interweb.
And I'm Carl. You may know me as Carl Rides. It's been a while, Duds. What have you been up to?
It has. Oh, I think we've been up to the same stuff.
Pretty much.
Let's create together.
That was the last episode you guys heard about a month ago that was recorded in November.
Yep, we haven't recorded in a while.
Yes.
It was a good break.
It was a good break, sort of. That episode was really good.
Yeah.
But then after we recorded that episode, I got every single cold and flu and illness that I could possibly get.
Yeah, you were sick for like a month and a half.
Yeah, it wasn't fun. So that's why that episode took so long to come out.
Yeah, I kept waiting. I was like, Carl, you going to put this episode out? And then it just kept going and going. And I was like, oh, he is not going to put this episode out.
And then by the time I got well, it was Christmas and New Year. So,
yeah, holiday season.
So it got out eventually, and here we are. So everyone's happy.
Maybe.
Can't
please everyone.
This is true.
But on Let's Create, what have you been doing on Create? Because I've been doing a lot of stuff. We just last night built something together.
Yeah, so mainly sorting my base out. I've done the main hallway of my base that comes in from the outside.
Evil layer, not base.
My evil layer. Up to my very evil chair next to my evil lava containers. So I've been powering all the things in that room using my windmills. I built my second windmill. That's something that I've done. I have fixed the andesite alloy farm. It needed more lava. So it now keeps up, which is good because I was constantly running out of lava. That's why it kept filling up with gravel and basically breaking itself. So that's A-okay now. That's up to about, I think I AFK'd the other day and it's up to like 15,500 now. I evicted my sheep. They are now free range because I needed the space to put my storage room because I've moved that storage room about 4 times now.
Carl, just build a storage room.
I'll get into it. But currently my storage room is where my sheep were. And I've built a massive room for our quartz and our redstone farm, which is going to go in that big room. So you should be seeing some of that on Duds' channel very soon. Or probably by the time this goes out, you've probably already seen it.
I was going to say, it'll probably be right before or right at the exact same time this episode goes out.
Yeah, so you might have already seen it or be seeing it soon.
Yeah, because once we start that, it's going to go quick.
Yeah. And then last night we built a gold farm.
You built the gold farm. I just built the stuff that powers the gold farm.
Yeah, basically I built a gold farm and then went, Duds, you know how to make cobble generators. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
So we now have gold, which we use for many, many, many things on the server, as we know.
Yeah, that was an argument we got into last night. Carl stressed it was very, very, very important. And I went, what do we use it for? And then he named one thing.
Precision mechanisms. But since then, I've remembered that I also use them for cuckoo clocks. So, 2 things.
Ooh,
2 things. But it's also a sand farm, a red sand farm, a clay farm, and a dead bushes farm. What more could you want?
I will say this. You don't ever realize when you need gold till you actually need gold.
This is true.
It's worth having on the server, and it's an easy to get to area. It's down my tree farm tunnel.
Yeah, so, it needed something there.
Yeah. Well, that was the point of that tunnel, and putting the tree farm towards the back was to let other people put other things there.
And I rose to that occasion.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've basically been doing the same thing. What have you been doing on Let's Create together other than making my cobble generator for me?
Yeah, I can't remember where I left off. I built a storage room. I played with steam engines. The steam engines were complicated. One of the more complicated things I've built. And it's because I'm trying to not watch tutorials. I'm trying to learn things as I go. It's only till recently I've started watching some tutorials. Like we were doing a tree farm and I was trying to do one big farm that did all the tree types. And I was prototyping how it worked and everything, and it just kept breaking because trees grow differently at different rates, and it just wasn't going good. So after about a week and a half of toying with ideas, I broke down and looked at what is a generic tree farm in Create. And it's that spinny module with a couple saws on it. I built a couple of those to get through, and they work fine, but they don't work for mangrove. So I was like, okay, well, that's just one tree. I need to build a farm by my own design for one tree. I can do that. And it took about an evening of playing around, but I've got a mangrove tree farm on Let's Create Together, which hasn't been shown yet. It should be shown in my next episode. And it is slow, but it works. The big thing is whenever I'm in my base, the tree farm's loaded all the time. Like half the trees in the tree farm, I've turned the farms off because we're already overflowing the vaults.
Yeah.
So the only vault that's not overflowing is the mangrove, and it's still into I think it's at 1K logs now already.
Nice.
So we still have a good bit. There's no stress there. And I like the farm. It has the ability to, if a tree grows the same tick it's going over the sapling, that's generally when it breaks farms. And it was breaking my small tree farms at the same time. So those were constantly breaking too, and I'd have to go and I'd fix them. And you chop all the logs out of the way, you turn the mechanical bearing off, you turn it back on, and then it starts going on its merry way. Well, the mangrove farm, if a tree grows during that tick, it kind of gets stuck and it just sits there and sits there and sits there. And then after a few seconds, it pulls itself back to go back home. And then it pushes forward again and it unsticks itself and cuts down the tree. I've seen it do it many times. There are a couple times, very few instances, like I'm talking maybe 0.1% of the time, when a tree will grow when it's going through there and it actually does break it and I have to go physically help it. But it's more reliable than the other tree farms, which I consider standard tree farms, which I'm extremely excited about. It's obsessive in the amount of saws I've put on it. It doesn't need that many saws. But saws for us are so cheap. The iron farm has a vault that holds over 55,000 iron ingots.
Yep.
And it's now to the point where it overflowed to the point where the farm turns itself off. So we had so much iron. I just made a buttload of saws because it didn't cost me anything. We've got the andesite alloy farm, so I can go AFK at your place, grab a bunch of andesite alloy. I have a casings generator, so I just run all my overflowing logs from the tree farm into that with the andesite alloy, and I can make 5 stacks of casings in under like a couple minutes. So
yeah, I need to actually do that because I'm still making them manually.
Once you get one of these things in there, it's so good.
Yeah.
Just like cranking the precision mechanism over onto the steam engines. Oh man, it spits one of those things out in less than 30 seconds. It's great.
Nice.
I mean, we were waiting close to 10 to 15 minutes to get a precision mechanism on the old farm.
Well, it was one water wheel.
Yeah.
It was so slow.
And now it's running off of, 16 steam engines?
Yeah, exactly. It was a good early game, but yeah, it needed an upgrade for sure.
Yeah, so we've been doing a lot of stuff. Redstone farm's coming next with quartz. I have an idea for a blaze farm, which I don't know if it'll be in this episode, depending on timing.
Those of you who don't play Create, you have to have basically a blaze farm and a netherwart farm to be able to have a redstone farm.
Yeah, you've got to make potions.
Yeah.
So having an easy way to get blaze rods. And now we could throw a generic blaze farm up in the thing because they're not hard to make. They're very simplified nowadays, which is great. But we want to do things the Create way.
Yeah.
So I played for I think I'm 11 days since my last episode. And most of that was spent playing with a blaze farm design in my head. And it wasn't until yesterday I came up with one, which stinks because that's a long time to wait to be putting out episodes. But I've kind of got to the point now where I don't rush episodes. I just put them out as the creativity hits. It's a great way to avoid burnout. And I get to have fun just playing Minecraft. Like, I play on my single player forever world more than probably any other world. And it progresses the least amount of all of them. Because, I go and tend to my armadillos and my cow farm and all that stuff.
Good though. Good.
Trade with villagers. It's what I call piddling around.
Yeah.
And if the inspiration strikes me, I build some stuff. Like I built this side building on my storage house. I have no clue what's going to go there. It's not a very big building. Like it's not useful, but I had the idea for how it was going to look. So I just built it and it looks great.
Nice.
Yeah, I've got automatic turning on and off my kelp farm and stuff. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, that's the stuff I've been up to. I've done a lot of in real life stuff. And you know what? I actually want to say I've been saving a lot of the in real life stuff for like the post show.
Mm-hmm.
So if anyone wants to hear that stuff, it's on our Patreon. I think for $1 a month.
Yep.
It gets you the post show. If you don't want to buy that soda out of the machine one time in a month, you can afford the Patreon. That's how I put it. Cans of sodas at my work's like $1. Real life stuff. March of last year, so almost a full year now, I was diagnosed with diabetes. I was extremely overweight. I still am overweight, but I was extremely overweight, and my doc did the where you have to test your feet for sensitivity thing whenever anyone who's diabetic knows that feeling. And it was very detrimental to my mental health. Like I just kind of balled up, not wanting, because I mean, I already have leg issues. Basically, my legs are constantly swelling and unswelling, and the veins and stuff. Like I have tiny bit of internal bleeding in my feet, and it's weird. It's under control and everything, but when they straight up did the diabetes thing to test and see if you're going to lose your feet or whatever, I immediately went, well, if I keep on this course, I'm going to lose my feet. I already have leg issues, so it's a guarantee I'm going to lose my feet. So I told myself I need to get better. So from March to May, I worked on eating habits. I still don't eat 100% perfect because I don't think I respond well to that. Like full on dieting and stuff, at some point I'll snap.
Yeah.
Or I'll go on vacation and stuff where I can't eat 100% perfectly, and then I fall in that hole. So I've picked and choose my battles. So like tonight, my dinner was a chicken salad sandwich and a bunch of broccoli. That was dinner.
I love broccoli.
I love broccoli. Broccoli's so good.
So nice. I wouldn't have said that 20 years ago.
No. And then in May, I decided I was going to walk until my feet fell off or they cut them off. And that was kind of my big thing. So I do 7 miles a day, 6 days a week, and I've lost 75 pounds in less than a year.
Crazy.
That was big for me. August, I was no longer diabetic. I was pre-diabetic. And then I just had my checkup a week ago. And that's when they said, hey, you're 75 pounds down and you're no longer diabetic. Matter of fact, we need to watch your blood pressure because it's getting to the point where they're wanting to cut back on my blood pressure pills, if not take me off of them completely. So that's a huge milestone for me personally.
Amazing.
I wanted to share it with everyone because you guys have been supportive in the Minecraft realms.
Good on you.
Yeah, that's one of the big reasons content is slow. Because Carl can attest, I didn't get on today till 7 o'clock because I wake up at 5:30 in the morning. I walk for an hour. I get home from work. I walk for an hour and then cook dinner, eat dinner real fast, and I don't get on till about after 7 o'clock. So content is slow paced on top of trying to do it in a way where I don't burn myself out.
Mm-hmm. Take everything in moderation and you'll be good. You can overdo many things in life, and trying to put content out when you're not 100%, with the creativity and stuff can be just as bad as any other kind of trying to do too much. So yeah, just moderation with everything really.
And it came down to what was more important.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously being healthy was way more important.
Definitely.
At the same time, finding a new rhythm. When Susie passed and I had to deal with that was dark. Like, I don't think I went into my office for over a month because our time was I'd sit at my computer desk and Susie's bed was always right next to me. Like, the stream cam would constantly be on her. I couldn't go into my office because I was so used to having her with me and everything. And so I didn't do any of that stuff. And then finally create is what pushed me out of that. It's like, hey, if I'm not going to do anything, I'm going to try to do something new.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Man, I love Create. Create's so good.
It's the only reason I'm playing Minecraft at the moment.
Yeah.
I didn't play Minecraft properly for like 2 years before the Create server. I dabble about in Cubed and that, but that was about as far as it went.
And we're playing just like the bone stock version of Create.
Mm-hmm.
There's Create Deco is the only add-on we have.
Yeah.
Everything else is just Create. I told myself like, hey, when we get bored of Create, we're going to pick an add-on out and we're going to add it.
Yep.
And then we're going to extend on. So we're going to update like Minecraft updates for ourselves.
It's the way to do it. Don't try and take on too many different things at once when you've not, get used to the base game, I suppose you could call it.
Exactly. That was my biggest thing is modded was so overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
I have one last thing to update because I'd be amiss to not mention it. Channel 64 Season 4 is starting very soon. Matter of fact, it will have started by the time this episode comes out. My episode will not. I'm starting my season late because I'm going to put this episode out of Create, and I'm doing Channel 64 differently. For the first time, I'm going to try to dive more into the story than I am just the Let's Play part.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone on Channel 64 has talked about pulling back on the story and doing more casual Let's Play, and I'm like diving full force into the story, so I don't know how that's going to work. It may not last very long, and I may just go back to doing Let's Plays depending on my comfort, and people can be like, hey, Duds, it's just, hey, go back, man. Like, no more story, man. Yeah, so I want to mention that's going out there. Keep an eye out.
I saw all the social media posts going up over the last day or so with all the people coming back and stuff. We'll have to see how you reacclimatize yourself to vanilla.
Well, I've been playing vanilla on my single player world.
True. I don't think I could go back now. I'd be like, where's my aloe?
It's not so much you get used to that, it's you just get used to a new way of thinking.
Yeah.
And it honestly brightens the vanilla experience for me more because I see things in a new way.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's good then.
Yeah. We have a lot to cover, and I held us up.
It's only 20 minutes.
Yeah, I say we need to skip the interesting news because that's going to be the main topic. And obviously, we're not going to be able to cover every little bit of news just because there's a lot of snapshots that have come out since 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 snapshots.
Yeah.
So 5 total have come out since the last time we did this. But we're going to cover that in the news, and also Mending Minecraft's back.
Yeah.
And one of the items, we're going to Mending Minecraft, one of the new snapshot items.
Nice. But before we get to that, let's quickly go through the last episode's listener poll. So last episode, I asked you guys, have you played the Create mod? Because I wanted to know. Aubni, Flaz, me and Duds were talking about Create last episode. I want to know whether you guys had got involved with it. We look at Spotify. A third of our audience said this is the first time they've heard about it through our podcast, Duds. Never heard of Create before. And 2/3 saying they play it and they love it. 56% on YouTube says they play it and they love it. And 33% never played it but have heard of it. And 11% played it and didn't like it. 11%, Duds, of our YouTube audience didn't like Create.
I could see that, though.
Yeah.
If you're into mechanisms, you love Create. If you're into adventuring, it's probably not for you. And that's all right.
Yeah, it's not for everyone, but it certainly got me back into things. I can tell you that.
Oh, yeah.
I love Redstone, so this is basically Redstone on steroids.
When Carl was not sick, he was outpacing me on time on server.
Yeah, I definitely was.
Mm-hmm.
I was making up for all the time when I was sick.
Yeah.
It's all good.
But before we continue with today's show, here's Jimbo with a reminder of how to get a discount on your own Minecraft server from Bisect Hosting. Let's Create Together's on Bisect Hosting. Just putting that out there.
You can get a discount on your own Minecraft server through our partnership with Bisect Hosting, offering our community 25% off any game server for their first month. This is for new clients only. Visit bisecthosting.com/TWE and use the code TWE at checkout to receive the discount.
Carl, what the heck was that? You can do that? Just a heads up. For the first time ever, Carl played the ad in the show recording. Most of the time, he just post-edits the ad into the show. Like, we just get quiet, and he goes ahead and he chops up the thing, and then he puts the ad in. He played the ad for real, and it freaked me out. Luckily, I was smart enough to just shut up.
To be fair,
That's so cool.
that wasn't actually recorded. I just played it for the live show. I like to be able to move things around. But yes, Wavelink just had a big update, so I redid a lot of my Stream Deck setup. So I actually have the ability to route.
Could you put the intro music in there?
I can.
Because if we do our countdown and you just hit the button.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I want to mention this because our first listener comment, I haven't heard the intro music in well over a year.
That's true, yeah. Shall I play it for you?
No, we're already behind on the show. I don't want to get too much. And plus, everyone has already heard it.
I thought I wouldn't tell you and just do it and see what your reaction was.
You see what kind of producer I put up with, guys? I'm not going to tell you I'm changing the show, and we're just going to change the show on the fly.
It's just going to happen.
Yeah.
Listener comments?
Yes. This one's from Why God. I don't know why, and I'm not a god, but anyways, they say, I've been listening to this podcast for years. Thank you so much. They listen on Amazon. The old intro music might actually be the most recognizable jingle I have ever heard. That is Decoy.
That's our Decoy.
Decoy is amazing. I love Decoy.
Our music master.
I listened to the first 50-ish episodes while I was very sick, and it helped me through a tough time. I love this podcast. Thank you. I hope you're feeling so much better now.
Same. Yeah. Hope you're feeling good, and thank you for listening for all this time.
I'd love to see how much we've changed, because we have. The first couple episodes were extremely rough, and they were not at all what I wanted the show to be. These last 50 have probably become more of what I wanted the show to be.
Yeah, we've had a lot more sort of round table discussions, which I know that's kind of what you wanted in the first place.
Yeah. We tried to play it safe and do what everyone else was doing. And I've felt it backfired mentally for me because I wasn't having as much fun as I thought. It's much more enjoyable now. Especially, we changed the scheduling of the show from every week to every month as a way to help Jimbo out because he was working a lot. So we're like, no, we can do that. And Carl had started back to work after COVID, so it kind of made sense.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, that new schedule, even after Jimbo's like, hey, I can't keep going, was still perfect.
Yeah, we kept it.
Yeah, we kept it because it was so casual and nice. And Mojang's not putting out crazy fast updates. Of course, now they are, which is a little crazy. But before, we'd go 3 months with no update, and then they'd put something out and it'd be a very small thing. And like, oh, we're supposed to talk about this for an hour?
Mm-hmm.
And that's supposed to carry us over multiple episodes? Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you like the show. I'm hoping we're improving in your ears.
Always.
Thank you so much.
And I have a comment on Spotify from Obi-Wan Kenobi.
The best Jedi of all time.
The best one. Hey duds, you said the Pale Forest is just a reskin of the Dark Oak Forest, but you didn't mention how the creek is just the exact opposite of an Enderman, which is kind of a reskin, isn't it?
That is correct. I didn't think about that till I saw this comment, and they are completely correct.
Yeah.
This is why Obi-Wan is the best Jedi.
It's, I didn't even think about that until I read that comment, and I thought, I'm putting that in the show.
Yeah.
That is spot on.
It's completely correct. Yeah, no, I didn't think about that. Granted, the creaking, I think it's creaking.
Creaking.
Who knows?
Who knows? We don't.
Yeah, that update was not one that tickled my fancy, throwing that comment out there.
We had white wood. I'm there.
I'm going to pull a Carl, and I think I said this on that episode. It's not white, it's pink.
Yeah.
It's the lightest of lightest pink, but it is recognizable as pink.
They do that to annoy me, I'm sure of it.
I'm sure they do.
Just after I pointed out that Blackstone is purple, they went, right, you want white wood? We're going to make it pink just to annoy you.
Yeah. But I need to put it out there, like, the functions of the mob is very good.
Mm-hmm.
I think the mechanics are cool. I think resin is stupidly ugly.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why it didn't really amount to anything to me. But I love the mechanics of the creaking and the Pale Forest. The Pale Forest trees, I don't think are very good. Like I said, they just look like a reskinned dark oak. I think they would have looked better as more of a willow tree. And I think they tried to do that with the, what I call the Spanish moss stuff.
Yeah.
I felt the tree needed more design work. But other than that, like there's parts of the update I liked. It's just there were parts that I really didn't like and / weren't interested in. And that's kind of what killed it for me. Like I said, you're doing a really good job, FragileRock.
Are we both reading that at the same time?
Yes, I am, because it keeps popping up on my screen. FragileRock is literally posting as many messages as possible to say, I'm trying to disrupt the podcast because they are a patron and they can listen live.
So we will read your messages. So FragileRock says, I joined when the Never update was in the works, and there was so much more to discuss about that as it developed, which is very true as well. The Never update was so big, and there was multiple snapshots coming out with big changes and new biomes and everything. And that's when our weekly schedule kind of worked, going back to what we were talking about before. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the reskin of the creaking. You are completely correct. I think the creaking's a cool looking mob, though.
It is.
I will give it that.
Yeah.
Kind of tired of the horror theme Mojang keeps going through.
You'd be excited about the new stuff then. It's not really horror anymore.
Yeah, I actually am extremely excited about the new stuff. Should we move on to the new stuff?
Yeah, let's do the main topic, the new snapshots.
I'm going to go through this snapshot. So like the first one is 25W02A. We got a bunch of new stuff like falling leaf particles on all the leaf blocks. So that's really cool.
They look so good, but they don't really match the leaves though.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. But I do like the idea of it though. I think it's really cool.
For sure. Cold and warm variants for the pigs. We still have the standard pig, which I think is being called temperate pig.
Yep.
And the warm pig's more brownish. Basically, we're getting a lot of variants of farm animals. And if it's warm, it's kind of brownish. And if it's cold, it's bluish to whitish to grayish. Both of the pigs' textures are cool. Did they update the model a little bit? Because now it has a little snout, right?
Yeah, so I think on the cold ones, they've got more of sort of...
Well, I think on the warm ones, they have got that snout too.
So they have the snout, but they also, on the cold ones, they have sort of like a bit more sort of like...
Yeah, they have an extra layer.
A layer, yeah, an extra layer on, because they're cold.
Kind of like how a player's skin has the outer layer. The pig has that now too. So it's like a furry pig, and it looks really good.
Yeah, keep it warm in the cold biome.
I really like these textures. I think they're very good.
Big fan of them.
Big fan.
They look so cool. And like the new chickens like lay different coloured eggs as well, and the crafting recipes have been updated and everything like that for like cake and stuff. So
we haven't gotten to chickens, Carl.
I don't know. They're all blended into one for me. I don't know what's going on.
I know we're covering 5 snapshots, and we've seen these over the past month or so. So
I can't be knowing which one's in which.
Yeah. And then we got wildflowers, which essentially is the cherry blossom petals, but yellow. This one kind of upsets me because why not more colors than just yellow?
Yeah, because we need more ways to make yellow dye, don't we?
Exactly. One of the most common dyes in Minecraft.
Yeah.
But yeah, wildflowers make yellow dye, and it uses the same functionality of the cherry blossom petals or the carpet, or forget what exactly it is. But it looks good. I love the idea of the wildflowers. I kind of wish we had more colors. I don't need all 16 colors.
I do. That'd be a great farm.
Well, I mean, you can do yellow, red, maybe blue.
Blue would be good.
Blue would be cool.
Cyan is an annoying dye to get, and I use cyan a lot, so I'd like a cyan one, please.
You do?
It's kind of my color.
But they're cool. And then we have leaf litter, which will be our Mending Minecraft. So leaf litter is a new decorative block, which again works like the cherry blossom petals and wildflowers, and the fact that you can put it down like carpet, but it's supposed to represent fallen leaves. It doesn't fully work like that. Like you can't bone meal to get more of them. But the way you get them is you can put leaves in a furnace and smelt them, and that'll give you leaf litter. And then leaf litter could also be then used as fuel in a furnace. But this is where Mending Minecraft comes in. So leaf litter, like I said, works like the wildflowers, but is really brown. And yeah, fallen leaves kind of have that look to them. But what is one biome, Carl, everyone's been wanting for a long time?
An end update.
Oh, dear Lord. No. An autumn or fall biome.
Yeah.
Like, I see that asked for a lot. That's one of the reasons everyone wants seasons, is for that one season.
Mm-hmm.
And I get why Mojang won't add it. It makes sense. But a way to get around that could be you use this same mechanic, but instead of putting leaves in a furnace, you put leaves in a smoker. And that turns the leaves into autumn colored.
I like it.
Now you've got oranges and reds and yellows and stuff like that. And then you can put the autumn colored leaves into the furnace to turn it into autumn colored leaf litter. And now you can have the fallen leaf style.
I think Flazity, who was on last episode and is on Let's Create Together, he has like a resource pack on his single player world that has like autumn leaves and stuff and autumn trees. And it looks so good.
Yeah.
So having a bit of that in vanilla, you know, just in the standard textures would be so good.
Yeah, I get not wanting to add a bunch of trees to do all these new autumn colored leaves because that's a lot of, I don't want to say waste, but it is. Because, I mean, you look at, what's the new tree? It's oak logs, but it's got the flowery leaves or whatever.
Azalea.
So, I mean, you just get more oak logs.
Yeah.
The log's still the same, and I'd rather save a new tree for something like pale oak and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, while you won't get a tree, the fact that you can make the leaves means you can build your own tree and maybe do your own biome.
Little custom tree.
Right. I think that's a great middle ground. I when I first heard of leaf litter and I saw them, I went, like it's good, but I'd prefer to have the reds and yellows and oranges and stuff. So why not do this? It gives another function for the smoker, which I think is extremely underutilized in most vanilla Minecraft.
It is, yeah. It could be so much better. What does it like? Cook things slightly faster, and that's about it.
Yeah, it cooks things slightly faster. I use them for kelp farms and stuff like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, the blast furnace might get used the least out of everything.
True, yeah.
Whew.
That's true.
Even the furnace minecart's making a comeback compared to the blast furnace.
At least it's not a fletching table.
This is true. Yeah, so leaf litter, Mending Minecraft. I was thinking about, normally, every week we put out a vote on the next ones.
Mm-hmm.
I have an idea for the next Mending Minecraft vote. Do we want to talk about it live on the air? Or do we want to wait?
I spring stuff on you live, so go for it.
I'm thinking for the first Mending Minecraft vote coming back, we do Warden, Creaking, Breeze. You guys pick.
Which one do you want us to mend next episode? The votes will be in the Discord, on Spotify, and YouTube as well. So get your votes in there, and then we'll add them all up, and whichever one wins, we'll mend next episode.
Mending Minecraft's back, baby!
It's back! We've been wanting to bring it back for about 6 months. So, yeah.
Yeah. The last big change in this snapshot is lodestones. Lodestones have to be one of the most beautiful blocks in Minecraft, but also one of the dumbest. And the fact that you need a netherite ingot to craft, well, now you don't. It's 8 chiseled stone and 1 iron ingot, and you can craft one, which means I think the functionality of these blocks just got way better. And obviously, they're so good looking, they get used in builds more.
Definitely. Lodestone's such a nice block. So good.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of technical changes in this one, like the Pale Garden biome becomes bigger because it was spawning at much smaller sizes and stuff. Some works with the Ender Pearl stasis chambers to create load or chunk loading, stuff like that. But we're low on time and we have 4 more snapshots to go through, so we're going to skip that stuff. If there is something you want us to come back and look at again next episode, let us know in the comments. Snapshot 25W03A. This was a lot of technical changes, so we're not going to stick on it a lot. They brought in a lot of test blocks for game makers to work with. It's a lot of stuff I don't know much about at all. That's why we're skipping it.
Yeah, there's a lot of like JSON changes and stuff. It's good to see them supporting like map makers and game developers. I'm sure they use them a lot for like the add-on packs they do for Bedrock. I'm sure there's like quite a lot of test blocks that they need for that kind of stuff. So it's good to see them supporting both us as the players and also developers as well to bring great add-ons and mods and stuff to us. So yeah, that's all good stuff.
Yeah. Snapshot 24W04A is a lot like that. There's a lot of technical changes, but this one brought back changes I wanted to talk about. I've updated to 121.4, and the movement changes are horrendous. You know how you used to do the bunny hop to run quickly back and forth to areas?
Oh, yeah.
Now you're constantly like being stopped halfway through doing it. It doesn't feel natural anymore. And this snapshot actually reverts back to the old way everyone's used to doing. I get Mojang doesn't like the fact that we intentionally do that kind of movement and they're trying to fix it, but I definitely like how they're like, we agree this fix isn't fixing it the way we would like, so we're going to revert back to the old movement style. So its diagonal movement is not normalized when crouching or using certain items, and the player continues sprinting when performing actions that slow them down. Like I said, the sprint jumping or bunny hopping is one of the big ones. I do that a lot in my single player world.
Same, yeah.
I try not to fly around because it's just a small little island. So I realized when I updated and I was constantly doing that, I did not like it one bit. So it's great to see that that's getting changed. I will very much jump to that update the second it comes out. Bigger one, 25W05A. We got new cows.
We're at chickens now.
No, we're not. We're at cows.
Oh, okay.
Come on, Carl. Read the snapshots.
No.
So, yeah, we've got cold and warm variants for cows. The cold cow is meant to look like the Highland cow. It doesn't really. But that being said, I'm not going to critique the texture too much because I do like it. I think it's a good texture. Same with the warm variant cow. They now have protruding horns and the snout is also sticking out, which is very cool. That being said, I think they forgot the mushroom cow.
Yeah.
Its snout is still very much flat. So I don't know. Maybe we're going to get an update to those guys. Maybe there's going to be a moon bloom added to the game. Or I don't know.
Maybe.
We all know that's the mob that they wanted to win that vote.
Yep.
And it didn't.
Nope.
So I think it might get sneaked in to this. By the way, I'm calling these updates the ambiance updates because all of them have to do with that very much. Basically, I don't think we mentioned it with the pigs, but the cold variants and the warm variants. The cold variants are places like old growth pine taiga, old growth spruce taiga, snowy taiga, windswept hills, windswept gravelly hills, and windswept forest. Whereas warm variants are savanna, savanna plateau, windswept savanna, jungle, sparse jungle, bamboo jungle, eroded badlands, wooded badlands, and just badlands.
And temperate is basically everywhere else.
Yeah, temperate's everywhere else. We're getting bushes. And firefly bushes.
Oh, fireflies, huh?
The firefly bush. Yep. Everyone ridiculed Mojang for not adding the fireflies because, the frogs. I thought it was more that they didn't really know how to implement a mob that small. And I believe I mentioned to you, I can't remember if it was on the podcast or not, that firefly should be particles instead of an actual thing. And sure enough, that's what's happening with the firefly bush. So they're connecting the firefly particle to a bush that's really cool. You can find it near swamps and rivers and stuff. And when it's dark, the particles will spread out and glow. It has a light level of 2, which is not a lot, but it is something much better than the torch flower. Looking at you, sniffers. You can use bone meal on a firefly bush and it basically spawns like a 2 tall flower, which is great.
Yeah, I like those. It gives you lots of different options on like when you're trying to like landscape.
Mhm.
You do it now, you bone meal, and you just get a bleh of stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say you just bleh.
Yeah, so it's good to have kind of like layers to landscaping as well with the new bushes. I really like them. I think it's a good addition.
Yeah, you can get sounds too. That's another thing I haven't really been talking about is there's a lot of ambient sounds being added to these updates. Like firefly bushes emit a noise when they have access to the sky and it's dark.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of sounds like not crickets. It sounds more like cicadas.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone's
Mm-hmm.
familiar with that sound, but it sounds a lot like that, which is cool. It's great. It's very quiet, so you have to turn it up. But if you put a solid block over the firefly bush, you won't get the noise, but you'll get the particles because the particles aren't dependent on day or night. They're just dependent on light level, which is brilliant, Mojang.
Yeah.
I love that. That means we can use the particles without worrying about the byproduct of firefly bushes. It's great.
Yeah, it's good to have that kind of option to turn the sound off and just have the particles in the area that you want them and hidden away the firefly bush itself, so you don't have to have it on display if it doesn't match your decor, as it were. So yeah, it's good to have good to have options there because it does look a really good particle effect. So
there's a lot of stuff I've been liking with these snapshots. Everyone feels like a hit, except for one thing for me.
Oh dear.
The bushes.
The bushes?
The bush does not look like a bush. It looks like tall grass.
Fair. That's fair.
When I think of a bush, I think of a berry bush, or I think of the azalea sapling.
Mm-hmm.
I consider that a bush, or I think of just a leaf block. That's a bush.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Leaf blocks are more of a bush than they are.
You're right, but the bush just looks like tall grass. It looks like, we call it sawgrass here in the southern United States. It looks a lot like that, not a bush. That's grass. You have grass and you have fireflies and grass. I would like the bush texture to get a little work.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the only textures I don't like.
Yeah, all the mob ones are hits, definitely.
Yeah, it's not a bad texture. But if you're going to call it a bush, it needs to look like a bush. If not, call it grass.
Yeah.
Let's talk more about grass. In Snapshot 25W06A, they added dry grass. So you have tall and short dry grass, which acts like normal grass, but desert biomes, which is cool. It's great to see some desert get a little love.
The cactus getting the little flower on top as well.
They get a flower block. That whole mechanic works a lot like, I can't think of the name, the kelp block. You know how it would stop at a certain thing, certain height. Well, while it's not predetermined on cactuses, it's kind of randomized. I guess it would be more like the chorus flower, how it can grow to a random height. And then when it stops, the flower, I want to say bloom, but it's not. It really like closes up.
Yeah, similar.
So it does that, and it technically works a bit like the cactus, which means cactus farms that have been previously built will not break, which is huge.
That's good.
And people have already figured out a pretty easy way to farm cactus flowers, which is awesome. I think I've seen a couple one-wide tileable designs already. Well, it can't be tileable because cactus, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's a one-wide farm.
Tileable for a cactus.
There we go. And they can be put on a lot of things. It's not just, you're not structured to organic materials like we're seeing them being put on glass rods, lightning rods.
The lightning rod one looks really good.
Yeah, it's a really good texture. I really like it, even though it's pink. I'm not a fan of a lot of pink stuff, but that's a texture I really like.
Nice.
The dry grass, I really like. I've heard some people be critics of it. I really like it. I think it looks good.
It looks really good. Yeah, I like to see, more foliage in different areas of the map.
Yes.
They seem to focus on, in updates of old, they've kind of focused on one specific area and made that look really cool, and everything else just kind of looks, 2012. So it's good that they're adding all these things that can go across biomes.
Yeah.
In different areas and match different color schemes and things. So it's really good to see them kind of branch out with this drop, as they're calling it.
you can shear it and place it on other
Mm-hmm.
like grass blocks and stuff. It doesn't have to be in the desert.
Yeah.
So it's a great way to add some variance in your landscaping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Really good. Really good.
But the last big update, Carl, is what?
I don't know.
Oh, dear Lord, Carl, the chickens.
I think I'm doing more to disrupt this show than FragileRock is.
You've been saying chickens the entire time. We finally get to talk about the chickens. You're like, I don't know what we're talking about.
Well, you know, I'm over them now. Yes, the chickens.
It just got here.
The chickens. But warm and cold chickens with their warm and cold eggs, I guess.
Yeah, the warm and cold ones. The warm one is not so much brown. This is one that kind of goes against the grain.
Mm-hmm.
Get it? Chickens, grain.
We're full of the jokes tonight.
It's a yellowish and orangish color, and the cold one is more blue. They've got updated models a little bit. The cold one has this really weird, swooped back mohawk style. I like the textures. Again, I've been hearing people kind of complain about the textures. I like the textures. The only thing I would do differently is I've always hated the beak being as it is, and I've hated the legs more than anything. I hate the legs being 1 pixel. That's always felt weird to me. The cold chicken, they lay blue eggs. The warm chicken, what color eggs? Is it orange?
Yes. Orangey sort of colour, yeah.
Yeah, it's more like it's kind of a salmon color.
Salmon, yeah.
So you can have cool little farms like Carl was saying earlier. The eggs are now interchangeable in recipes, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's good that they did that because I could see them sort of like forgetting that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and just having these extra eggs that you can't really do. And if you would have to go get a temperate chicken to actually use the eggs in cake or whatever. So it's good that they kind of thought about that ahead of time and updated the crafting recipes to go along with it.
Yeah, they're very cool mobs. They might be my favorite texture update so far. There might be some recency biased in there. I really like the cows and I really like the pigs, but I think the chickens are the coolest of the updates so far. Which is weird because that's the one mob I generally don't have near my base because of how loud and annoying they are. But I'm going to have me a chicken coop in my survival world, my single player forever world. That's for sure. Just to house these chickens.
The chickens. I like it. I'm excited to see what they do next.
For sure.
These have been bangers, these snapshots.
They have. Like I said, other than the bush texture, that's the only thing I haven't really liked is the bush texture. Everything else, it's been a long time since Mojang has hit so many things in a row for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's felt like miss after miss after miss for the last couple updates. So when these started coming out, I was like, oh, that's nice. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's nice. It's like, yay, I'm kind of getting excited. Now, I would not consider this a very big update or I don't want to say it's not a very good update because it's a very good update, but it's not, I wouldn't put it up there with like, everyone hates it, but the bees and the bugs.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my favorite updates because of how much it improved Minecraft.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it up there near as high as that, but this is a good quality of life update.
Yeah, we've got to remember that they're kind of on a different schedule now.
Right.
So these drops are going to come more regularly than the big Minecraft updates did.
Yes.
And they're doing like the 2 Minecraft Live style videos a year to announce when the new drops are coming.
There should be one probably late March, early April is when I'm guessing.
Since recording this episode, Mojang has announced that the first Minecraft Live of 2025 will be on March the 22nd. For your local time, visit minecraft.net/live and join us later the same day for a live episode of the Withering Effect. To be notified when we go live, visit youtube.com/the Withering Effect or check out our social media channels.
We have the Minecraft movie coming out, I think April.
True.
I have a feeling it'll correspond with that to get free publicity out there.
That's probably a good shout.
It makes sense. It makes sense from an advertising point of view. So no knock on Mojang for that.
Yeah, so with that new schedule, the updates may have less in them, but they'll be more often, is kind of how I'm reading it in theory.
Well, I want to say at first I read there were going to be smaller updates in between larger updates.
Oh, okay.
So we're still getting a larger update. It's just we're not getting updates on that till it's time.
Yeah.
So that allows them to work on some bigger, like an end update without teasing it for a year and a half.
Yeah.
Which is great. This is how it should have been done from the get-go. You have enough employees, let employees do small stuff like this, and some employees work on some of the bigger stuff too. All of it's important, and all of it's good work.
Yeah.
So far, I've liked the new release schedule and stuff.
So far, so good.
I think the next live will tell me if it's going to work or not.
They announced they were going to try and do something like this a few years ago, and it never really happened.
Exactly. I was very cautious when they announced it again.
So far, so good. Good start to 2025, Mojang.
So far, so good. Very, very good start. Like, 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. Amazing.
I'd like some game mechanics to be shown now, though. They don't have to be game mechanics. They could be like a new crop.
Maybe a new mob called Jack Black.
Please no.
that was FragileRock's idea.
I will find it and lock it up in a cage or something.
Here's one. They could do it where if you go and see the, like when you used to go to Minecraft Live and you get a cape.
Yep.
If you go see the Minecraft movie, the cinema gives you a QR code and you can download the Jack Black mob. Come on. That's just not impressed.
No, Carl. No. Yeah, we're going to have to go watch that movie, aren't we?
Yep. It's all right for me. I get free tickets.
Yeah, it's fine for you because you don't have to pay. I'm going to pay $20 to watch a movie that I may hate by the time I walk out of the theater. It's very weird. Every trailer I see makes me not like the movie even more. But every behind the scenes is something that makes me want to see the movie more.
See,
Not because I think it's bad.
The last trailer I saw actually made me like it more than the original trailer.
Maybe that's a better one. I've stopped looking for trailers because of how upset they were making me.
Yeah, the first one was bad, but the latest one, it kind of answered a few questions from the teaser trailer. So, I'm moderately sort of on board, as it were.
I remember watching a trailer that answered some questions, and I did not like the answers to those questions. So there's that. But then I remember watching a lot of the behind the scenes stuff and getting different answers to different questions that I really liked. So
it'll all be answered on the big screen, and we will come and tell you what we think of it.
Yep.
And you can tell us as well in the comments to that episode, and we can reach a consensus, hopefully, on whether it's good or not.
Yeah. I think that's going to do it for today's show. Before I have Carl read us out, I want to say a huge thank you to all of our patrons who are supporting the show. Our milk level patrons are Aubni, FragileRock, J-Man, Loki, and the Meme Bug. If you too would like to get access to extra content and exclusive benefits, including our Minecraft server powered by Bisect Hosting, please consider joining at patreon.com/The Withering Effect.
If you like the show, you can share it with all your friends and on social media. If you listen on Spotify, rate and follow us so you never miss a future episode. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, leave us a nice review. Doing any of these helps the show reach more listeners. If you'd like to get in contact with us, send an email to podcast@thewitheringeffect.com. Message us on social media or join our Discord, where you can have a chat with everyone who works on the show and fellow listeners. All those links are in the show notes.
This show has been brought to you by our digital producer Carl and myself. The amazing music you hear throughout the show was created by the one and only Decoy. Everyone's social media info can be found in the show notes. You guys have been awesome. Thank you so much for getting withered with us. You should probably go drink your milk now. Bye.
See you guys.
Sorry, I choked on my drink. That's one of the things that have changed from the first 50 episodes. I can mute myself now when I try to die from breathing, which is why I was extremely skeptical. This is going in Carl's outtakes at the end of the show.
Yay! It's not going to be 100% Flazity this time.